Standing with me is Governor Jack Markell from Delaware. Thank you for being here with us, Governor.
Sure.
I understand Delaware just passed a budget, and I want to ask you what's in there to create jobs.
Well, there's actually quite a bit because all states, and certainly in Delaware, we have got to be absolutely relentless when it comes to the issue of job creation. It's what we're focused on every single day. So what we try to do is we try to think exactly like the folks who create jobs in the first place. Great schools, certainly very important, workforce, quality of life, all those issues. But the best way of focusing on it really is to talk about the budget. So after I proposed my budget in January, some additional funds came on the table. It allowed us to put $40 million into infrastructure. So when economic development opportunities present themselves, we want to be ready should there be an infrastructure investment that's needed. We put money into housing, into transportation, because there's a great return. We're not going to have a strong economy unless we have a strong transportation infrastructure. We did some tax cuts for the financial services industry, so that if financial services companies create more than 200 additional jobs in our state, they'll get a $1,250 per person tax credit for 10 years for every additional job that they create. We proposed a tax cut for the gross receipts tax, for the public utility tax, and all of that got done. And we also proposed some additional money for higher education, money that will put people to work near term on some building projects, but that will help people go to work longer term.
You have a lot of experience in the business world as an executive for Nextel, Comcast. I'm curious what you think some of the other governors could learn from the business community.
Well, I think actually having that business background today is critical, because this is really what it's all about. That's why we do have to be relentless, in fact, every single day. So the most important thing that we can do is put ourselves in the heads of the people who create jobs. I go out every single week and I ask businesses in Delaware, and for that matter, businesses outside of Delaware, how we can facilitate their success. That's the only question I ask. And what they tend to say is it's a handful of issues. As I mentioned, great schools, reasonable taxes. They want us to have a great workforce. They want us to be incredibly responsive, because when they're filling out forms and waiting in line, they're not putting people to work. And they also want strong linkages with higher education. The answer is focus on a handful of things. But just as businesses think about every day, think through from the perspective of their customer, we have to do the same thing, and these businesses are our customer.
While I have you here, I have to ask you about this debt ceiling debate, and specifically I want to know, what would a default mean for the state of Delaware?
I think there is still so much uncertainty out there. I mean, obviously, if things fall apart and it leads to a significant increase in interest rates, that would be a problem not just for Delaware. We actually have a AAA rating, but it would still be a problem for us and for other states, because if it jacks up the interest rate that we'd have to pay if we sell additional bonds, that's a big problem. I think beyond that, there is still so much uncertainty, and we look forward to this getting resolved.
What do you think about that debate that's going on?
I think it's incredibly frustrating. I think in states, generally, a balanced approach is the approach that works best. We would like to see the folks in Washington take a balanced approach as well. That's what the president has been advocating, and we'd like to see that be the solution.
Now, I know you're a Democrat, but are you supporting President Obama's $4 trillion plan here? Because it probably would involve some cuts to Medicaid.
Well, what we've said is we understand that if there is it is important to deal with the deficit. It's important to deal with the debt. If so, the pain needs to be broadly shared. And with respect to Medicaid specifically, our concern is that it not just be a cost shift, because if all it is a cost shift, let's remember it's the same taxpayers. And so whether they're paying state taxes or they're paying federal taxes, a cost shift is not helpful. So we understand the necessity of getting something done, but we are concerned about the effects on real people and on the state taxpayers.
Governor Markell, thank you so much for being here with us.